Your mind is exhausted, relentlessly battered by thoughts that never stop, worries that multiply in the dark like cells dividing, emotions rising like waves in an endless ocean, and you, somewhere beneath them, drowning. You've tried everything. Meditation apps that promise peace in 10 minutes, self-help books stacked by your bed, half-read, therapy, retreats, affirmations repeated until the words lose meaning, and still, the restlessness remains. Still, you wake at 3 a.m. with your heart racing over something you can't even name. Still, you scroll through other people's lives, searching for the formula you're missing. Still, you think, when I finally achieve this, when I finally become that, when I finally fix myself, then I'll be okay. But that moment never arrives. What if you've been searching in the wrong direction? What if the peace you're chasing isn't waiting for you in some future version of yourself, not hidden behind years of practice, not locked in a perfect life, not dependent on finally getting your mind under control? The Buddha said something that sounds too simple to contain the weight it carries. Peace comes from within you. Do not seek it from outside, not from achievement, not from validation, from within. This is the principal teaching of the Buddha, not to manage suffering, not to cope with it or numb it or distract yourself from it, to uproot it. And the root isn't where you think. It's not in your difficult childhood or your chemical imbalance or your circumstances or the people who hurt you. Those things are real. They matter, but they're not the root. The root is the way you relate to your own mind. Nyoshul Khenpo Rinpoche, a Tibetan master whose teaching was so clear it could crack open a heart, spent his life pointing at this one truth. Everything you need to know can be distilled into recognizing your own nature, not learning about it, not believing in it, not accumulating knowledge until you're finally qualified to be free, recognizing it the way you recognize your own face. Today, we invite ourselves to rest here and witness the silence that never left. This contemplation offers a quiet space to dissolve the search itself and return to what you've always been. Because here's what the Buddha discovered, sitting under that tree 25 centuries ago, and what every awakened being since has confirmed. The mind is staggeringly powerful. It can create happiness or suffering, heaven or hell, not metaphorically, actually. Right now, the world you're experiencing, painted in anxiety or ease, contraction or spaciousness, is generated by your own mind. Two people in identical situations live in completely different realities. Same job, same relationship, same body, different minds, different worlds. One person's inconvenience is another's catastrophe. One person's challenge is another's adventure. Same event, different interpretation, different life. The Buddha said, a disciplined mind brings happiness, not a controlled mind, not a suppressed mind, not a mind beaten into submission, a disciplined mind, one that understands its own nature, one that no longer mistakes the weather for the sky. Think about it. When a cloud passes in front of the sun, does the sun disappear? No, it's just temporarily obscured. The sun doesn't fight the cloud, doesn't analyze it, doesn't build an identity around it. The cloud passes, the sun remains. You are the sky. You've been identifying with the clouds. Shabkar, a wandering yogi who lived in the mountains of Tibet, sang, The root of all that exists, samsara and nirvana, is the mind itself. Primordially, the mind is emptiness. It rests in the absolute vastness resembling the sky, empty, luminous, beyond attachment. Empty doesn't mean blank. It means ungraspable, like trying to hold water in your fist. Luminous doesn't mean glowing. It means self-aware, consciousness knowing itself. Beyond attachment doesn't mean cold. It means free, unconditioned, not dependent on circumstances aligning perfectly before you're allowed to be at peace. Your mind, right now, in its essential nature, is like infinite space. Thoughts arise in it like clouds. Emotions move through it like storms. Sensations flicker like lightning. But the space itself, untouched, unchanging, always here. You've experienced this, even if you didn't name it. That moment when the mental chatter suddenly stops. After laughter, in nature, in the gap between exhaling and inhaling. That clarity, that openness, you didn't create it. You simply stopped obscuring it. So why is it so fleeting? Why do we spend most of our lives lost in the weather? Because of attachment. Specifically, attachment to an I, a self that feels separate from everything else, a me that needs defending, improving, validating, a continuous sense of being someone who's fundamentally incomplete and therefore must constantly acquire, achieve, become. This is the root, not your past, not your trauma, not your brain chemistry. Those are conditions, yes, but the root, the thing that turns conditions into suffering, is this: the belief in a solid, separate self that's never quite enough. From that belief, everything else follows. When you don't get what you want, you suffer, because I didn't get what I deserve. When you experience what you don't want, you suffer, because this shouldn't be happening to me. The entire architecture of your suffering is built on that one assumption. But what if it's not true? Not in a nihilistic way, as if nothing matters, in a liberating way. Because when you actually look for this I, when you search for it directly, not philosophically, but experientially, what do you find? Thoughts about yourself, memories, sensations in your body, stories you've been telling for so long, they feel like facts. And all of it, changing, conditional, appearing and disappearing in the same open awareness that's present for everything else. When was the last time you believed a thought completely and later realized it was just a story? Padmasambhava, the master who brought Buddhism to Tibet, said, "Inside, whatever moves in your mind, whatever you think, has no essence. It is empty." Empty of what? Empty of the solidity you've been giving it. Empty of permanence. Empty of the power to define you. Watch a thought arise right now. Any thought. Where did it come from? Nowhere. Where will it go? Nowhere. And yet, you've been taking orders from it your entire life. Notice, who is watching the thought? That witnessing presence. That's closer to what you are. Not the clouds, the sky, not the movie, the screen, not the waves, the ocean that contains them. This isn't philosophy. This is what happens when you actually look. Longchenpa, in a moment of such directness, it feels like he's speaking across centuries into this very moment, said, "Abide here, you fortunate ones. Let go and be happy in the natural state. Abandon your complicated life and daily confusion, and in quietude, observe the nature of mind." So, Let's stop talking about it. Let's look. Right now, without moving, without preparing, without trying to get into the right state, just notice what's here. Thoughts might be present. Am I doing this right? What's the point of this? Let them be, like clouds. Don't follow them. Don't fight them. Just let them drift. Breathe. In, out. Notice the breath, not controlling it, just witnessing. Between the inhale and exhale, there's a gap, a moment of no breath, no thought. Rest there. Now notice sounds, distant, close. They arise. They fade. You're not doing anything to hear them. They simply appear in awareness. Notice sensations, pressure where you're sitting, temperature on your skin, aliveness, all of it arising in the same space, the same witnessing presence. That presence, it's not something you're creating. It's what you are when you stop trying to be someone. Thoughts will come again. Okay, I get it. Is this all there is? I'm not feeling anything special. Perfect. Let those thoughts be clouds too. You are not the clouds. You are the vast sky, watching clouds drift across infinity. This spaciousness, this clarity, this simple, ordinary awareness that's present right now, this is your natural state, not something you achieve, something you recognize, not something you become, something you've always been. Rest here a moment longer. Notice, did you have to earn this? Did you have to be good enough, spiritual enough, healed enough to access this awareness? Or is it simply here, always available, never lost, just overlooked in the chaos of seeking? The peace you've been seeking isn't in the future. It's in the breath you just took, in the silence between these words, in the awareness that's been here all along, patiently waiting for you to notice. This is what the Buddha pointed at, not a state you attain after years of meditation, a recognition available right now. Who would you be if you stopped defending the image of yourself? Now, you might be thinking, this is beautiful, but I can't live in meditation. I have emails, conflicts, responsibilities, a mind that won't shut up at 3 a.m. This is where the teaching becomes practical. When your phone buzzes at 11 p.m. and your heart races before you even read the message, that spike of anxiety, that story you instantly construct about what it might mean. Pause, just for one breath. Notice, the anxiety is arising in awareness. It's not you. It's weather in the space of you. You don't have to fix it. You don't have to make it go away. You just have to see it clearly. A wave, not the ocean. When someone criticizes you and anger flares hot in your chest, that impulse to defend, to attack, to prove them wrong. Before you react, ask, is this feeling permanent or passing? Not to suppress it, not to spiritually bypass, but to see its nature. Emotions are like clouds, intense, real, temporary. When you see a wave as a wave, you don't drown in it. When you're chasing the next milestone, the promotion, the relationship, the body, the version of yourself that will finally feel complete, pause and ask, am I looking for peace by rearranging my life? Or can I recognize the peace that's already here, beneath the seeking? This is revolutionary, not because it gives you a new technique, but because it reveals you don't need one. You don't have to wait. You don't have to fix yourself first. You don't have to earn your way to peace through spiritual achievement. You simply have to stop overlooking what's already true. Milarepa, the yogi who sang from mountain caves, knew this. The enlightened know that all things are of the mind. Therefore, one must watch the mind, day and night. If you watch it, you'll see nothing. Then, fix your mind in that state which transcends all seeing. Watch the mind. See its emptiness. Rest in that recognition. The Mahasiddhas of India and Tibet all taught this. Tilopa told Naropa, don't worry about external objects. Don't worry about internal objects. Without looking outward or inward, leave it as it is, empty, free, and open. It's not the objects that bind you. It's the internal commentary, the grasping, the aversion, the endless argument with reality about how things should be different than they are. What would your life feel like if you stopped fighting what is? Not passively, not giving up, but internally, no longer at war with this moment, no longer insisting your thoughts mean something about your worth, no longer terrified of feeling what you feel, no longer waiting for permission to live because you're not perfect yet. Just this, as it is, recognized for what it is. Maitripada said, all phenomena are empty of intrinsic nature, and the mind that fixates on emptiness dissolves into its own ground. Liberation from conceptual activity is the path of all Buddhas. This is the principal teaching, not a philosophy to believe, not a technique to master, a truth to recognize in your own experience. Nyoshul Khenpo taught, there's only one thing you need to know in this world, only one, your own nature. That recognition is the universal medicine, the cure for every form of suffering that exists, not because it makes your problems disappear, but because it changes your relationship to them. Your fundamental nature doesn't come and go. It doesn't improve with success or degrade with failure. It's not affected by your good days or bad days, your spiritual highs or your darkest moments. It simply is, like the sky is, beyond weather, like the ocean is, beyond storms. When you recognize this, not intellectually, but directly, something shifts. You're no longer waiting for your life to begin when conditions are perfect. You're living now, fully, in this messy, imperfect, heartbreakingly beautiful moment. Not because you've transcended being human, but because you've stopped abandoning yourself. Where do you search for peace? In the next achievement? In fixing yourself? In some imagined future when you're finally enough? Or can you find it here, in the simple recognition of what's already true? The text we've explored today ends with an invitation, the most important one you'll ever receive. Rest in the great natural peace. This exhausted mind, mercilessly beaten by karma and neurotic thoughts, like the relentless fury of waves in the infinite ocean of samsara. Rest in the great natural peace. Rest doesn't mean doing nothing. It means stopping the war, stopping the constant evaluation, stopping the search that presumes something essential is missing. The peace you've been seeking isn't hidden, isn't earned through years of practice, isn't reserved for the enlightened. It's here. It always has been, the very awareness present right now. Reading these words, hearing this voice, that's it. That's what you've been looking for everywhere else. Not something to achieve, something to stop overlooking, not a destination to reach, a recognition available in any moment you stop running. This is the principal teaching, not a belief system, an invitation to see directly. If something in this contemplation touched what's true in you, stay with us on this journey, not to become someone else, to remember who you've always been. Until we meet again, rest, just rest, in the great natural peace that you are.